What's up, guys? Welcome back to Man Cave Collectibles. Today I want to take a look at another figure. This is Charles Xavier, better known as Professor X, from the Marvel Legends 80 Years line that they've been doing. So the figure's been out for a little while now. I was just able to get my hands on it as I'm trying to build my Marvel Legends X-Men team. So I was really happy to get this guy. I got him kind of in a group of figures off of eBay for a really good price. So I want to go ahead and bring a review of Professor X to you today. Before we get into that review, let's do what we have been doing lately. Let's talk a little bit about the character. Professor X first appeared in September 1963 in X-Men #1. He was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So as we take a look at some of the first times we see Charles in this book, his look has changed very little. So if we compare like this rendition from Hasbro to what we saw in the original 1963 comic, we see a lot of characteristics that are similar. So he's really a character that has not had a lot of change over all these years. Professor X is the founder and the leader of the X-Men, although the X-Men have had other leaders over time. For example, when Charles was deceased, other folks stepped in and took over. But I would dare to say without Professor X, we never would have had the X-Men stories and characters that we do have now. He was kind of the glue that bonded the X-Men slogan for many decades, I would say. His most notable achievement is probably the creation of the X-Mansion, which he ran and taught at hundreds of mutants, if not thousands probably over time, just helping them learn to deal with their powers and kind of integrate into society. So definitely probably his biggest achievement there. And as we've said, he really hasn't changed much. We've talked about that with other Marvel Legends I've done. They've had a lot of change over time. Professor X, not so much. He has had periods of time in the comics where he's been able to walk. They've repaired him or through some other ability of a mutant around him or whatever, he's been able to actually get up and walk. For the most part, and the way most of us remember him, is in some sort of a wheelchair. Now, when we talk about the wheelchair, the neat thing here about this wheelchair, this hover chair that Hasbro has given us, this first appeared in Volume 2, X-Men #1 from 1991, which, if you're in my generation, that is your X-Men. So we will be able to see that actually on the cover. That was I think they put out 5 different covers. It was either 4 or 5 different covers for that #1 issue. And if you put them together, you basically created a full picture of the X-Men Blue and Gold team. And he is on the cover of that. If we flip on in a few pages, we actually get to see our true first appearance of him in the hoverboard, not hoverboard, the hover chair. So pretty neat there that it has its own first appearance. Everything does, and that was the hover chair's first appearance. Now he had wheelchairs before that, but this specific one that Forge built him came out in 1991. So as far as powers, he's genius level intellect, if not one of the most powerful psychics in the Marvel Universe. He can do telepathy and pretty much mental manipulation of anyone around and make them think, see what he wants them to see. We've seen that in the comics and in the movies that have been done. So really cool character. Like I said, probably one of the most important characters in the Marvel Universe to date. So let's go ahead and hop on into the figure itself. We see everything here in the window packaging. Really nice job that they've done here. We can see we've got to build and assemble the actual hover chair. Let's see if we can fit this in. A little bit of artwork here on the side. On the back, just a product image of Professor Xavier and some details about his chair. And he's obviously got Cerebro there, which you can put on him if you want. So this is part of like the Legendary Rider series that Marvel Legends has been doing. So we can see here that around the same time or soon after, the Deadpool figure was released as well with his little scooter. So really cool figure. Excited to get this guy out of his package. Let's go ahead and do that now. All right, guys, so we got Professor X out of his packaging, and here he is, looking very classic, very nice sculpt, nice paint work on this guy. Take a closer look at some different areas of the figure here in a moment. First thing we'll do is just talk about, what comes in the package. So obviously, one thing we all know, and we'll build this together here on camera, but we got the two pieces of the hover chair. So you can see that these are basically just hollowed out pieces of plastic that will fit together along with some other pieces that I'll show you here in just a moment. So that's our first thing to talk about. We've got additional pieces here. Kind of looks like the back of the seat. And then we have the seat, the hover chair. Okay. Continuing on with the hover chair, we have his iconic blanket that'll lay over his legs. Okay. And then we have kind of his, his hover effect that the chair will sit on, kind of showing, that propulsion from under the hover chair, allowing it to hover. So here's that effect that they provided us. Looks really nice. Now we also received a Cerebro, his Cerebro helmet, which comes with kind of this effect on the back. Now one thing I did appreciate, I don't care much for that effect on the back. Nothing wrong with it. I'm glad they provided it. Me personally, I don't care much for it. So it's nice that you can pop the Cerebro helmet off and just have the helmet if that's all you want. Just has a little peg there, and you just pop the helmet into that. It's pretty neat. And then the last accessory is the Shadow King head, which looks amazing. Get just a nice look at that. Real well painted. So I think a lot of folks are taking this and putting this on a the Kingpin Build-A-Figure. I think that's how this was intended. So if you have two Kingpin Build-A-Figures, you could have Kingpin and the Shadow King on this. So pretty cool that they threw that in. I'm not real sure. Mine's glasses kind of move around here, so it looks like they're glued on this side and not glued on, sorry, I have the camera there, glued on this side, not glued on this side. So I don't know if that's normal, if maybe the glue just kind of popped loose on mine. Not 100% sure, but real nice Build-A-Figure piece there. Now, moving on to Charles Xavier himself. So we can see here, did an excellent job on the face sculpt. Everything's nice and neat. Crisp lines on the paintwork, crisp lines on the tie, the paintwork on the tie. This is just a soft plastic tie here, real soft. So that's really nice. The jacket here is just a soft plastic as well. You probably could remove this. It doesn't feel like it's actually molded to the outfit. So if you wanted to pull that off, the only problem would be you would still have the green arms. This is all molded in, so it wouldn't do you much good to remove that. So yeah, Xavier's looking really nice. As far as articulation, we've got our standard Marvel articulation there. You've got your ball peg on the head. Shoulders are going to go 360 and up. Double jointed elbows. Standard Marvel Legend articulation in the wrist. Double jointed knees. Swivel here at the thigh. And then your standard articulation there on the ankle. So we won't really go over that, bore you with that. We get plenty of articulation videos out there. Now, as far as building the chair, so it looks like what we're going to need to do is take your chair piece here, and this peg is going to peg into this white area here, and you can see how this is shaped and how this is shaped, you're basically just going to follow the shape there and push your chair seat down into it. This portion of your chair here is going to just fit back in. It does have a peg here that you can see. That just pegs back into that. All right, make sure we get all this lined up. And then you just take your other piece here, and it's going to slide in the back here. You can see you've got two pegs that are going to, this peg and this peg here are going to need to line up, and they're going to slide in, pop it together, push it all together. Bam. Very simple, very easy to do. Then you have this pops into the bottom, and you've got the hover chair. So it looks really nice, great detail on this thing. They did do a little paint work on it. Right in here, you've got some controls on both sides. So those will slide out if you want to reveal his controls there for the hover chair. So really nice detail. You can see we got paint inside there, sculpt. I really like what Marvel Legend did with this. Did a good job there. Now, as far as getting Professor X in, basically just going to sit him down in there and slide him in. Very simple. All right. So there we go. Very nice. I really like the look of that. Now, the last thing, if you wanted to, you could always just slide Cerebro right over the top of his head, like that. So, looks really good. I'm very happy with this figure, excited to have him. Let's do a few size comparisons and wrap up our video. All right, guys, so the first thing we'll compare him to is himself. So this is the Kotobukiya 1992 1/10 scale PVC statues that Kotobukiya did. They kind of did that 1992 X-Men line that I'm aware of. That is not continuing, but I was able to pick that line up. So we can see the difference here in size. You know, this would probably be more of like a 7-inch scale if I had to pin a scale on it. But we can see, you know, they are very similar in a lot of ways. This Hasbro probably did a little better job maybe of nailing, you know, what that hover chair originally looked like. So that's pretty cool that they really went with, you know, some of the original, you know, look for this thing. So really like that. But both look good. But there's some size comparison there as far as a Professor X in another line. All right, and then if we want to go ahead and bring out what I have so far in my X-Men line from Marvel Legends, here are the 4 figures. If we're kind of keeping track of where I'm at, here we are, 4 figures in. So he looks really nice with these. Can't wait to surround him with more of kind of those 1990s style X-Men in the Marvel Legends line. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click like and subscribe. Feel free to comment. If there's something about the video you enjoyed, feel free to put it. If there's things you don't enjoy, feel free to put that as well. I can take constructive criticism as with the best of them. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the subscribers that have subscribed. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, stay safe.